Hi, I'm Marlene Peterson, co-founder with my husband Brent of Libraries of Hope. As you look around our site, you'll quickly see that we're all about stories here. That's because Libraries of Hope is dedicated to the belief that stories have the power to shape and change our lives, and nothing carries ideas deeper into the heart than a well-told story. That's why we start with a page dedicated to storytelling. The reason storytelling's been used since Adam to pass along values and culture from generation to generation is because it works. Yet, it's a lost art in most homes today. It's just easier to pick up a book or turn on a movie. But reading from a book or watching a movie doesn't have the impact of a well-told story. Cultures around the world are beginning to wake up to the realization that many of the problems they're facing as societies can be traced to a loss of storytelling among their people. America saw a revival in the art of storytelling in homes 100 years ago. We believe it's time for a new revival. I studied the writings of these gifted storytellers of 100 years ago and gathered much of their storytelling wisdom in this book, Restoring the Art of Storytelling in the Home, which is basically a manual for beginning storytellers. The best way to learn to tell stories is to tell lots of them, and you'll find over 100 stories ready to tell that were prepared by these storytellers that you can use to practice with. They've formed story groups to encourage and support each other, and you can do the same. You can listen here to what we do in our story group here in Virginia, and we've put together some simple guidelines if you'd like to start your own story group. We've also set up 2 community story banks online that we invite you to contribute your stories to so others can benefit from them. Although it can be used to just come and listen to great stories, our intention is that it will become a resource where busy parents can download stories, listen to them, and then retell them when they tuck their kids in at night or around the dinner table. The Universal Values Story Bank includes stories from around the world, while the Liberty Story Bank focuses on stories from American heritage as part of our Save Our Stories project, which you can learn more about here on our Garden of Liberty page. As stories awaken feelings, children become hungry to get at more stories. In fact, telling stories works wonders for reluctant readers. So the next most important step is to make sure you have a well-stocked family library where your family can freely feast. Let the family library be the most inviting room in the house. Give them the best. Let them rub shoulders with the giants of the human race. Bring them in contact with ideas that will help them see life from higher places, that will set dreams in motion, quicken their imaginations, and stir their souls. No great mind of the past became such by study guides or worksheets. Rather, they were surrounded by and immersed themselves in great literature where they were allowed to ask their own questions and to connect their own dots. Long after a book is read, its mere presence on the shelf conjures up the feelings of the first reading, and the books in the family library serve as dear companions and friends that long continue to exert a quiet influence. Every family library will look different, but we have some suggestions on our Build Your Family Library page for you to consider. I just want to point out a couple of resources we have that are unique to us. There was a wonderful golden age of children's literature between the years of around 1880 to 1920. We're bringing many of these wonderful stories back into print in the Forgotten Classics Family Library. Here you'll find stories to retell, to read aloud together, and for your children to quietly read by themselves. There's a warmth factor in these books that you don't find in books today, as these writers use stories to introduce studies in history, art, music, great literature, science, and nature. They wrote stories of great men and women to show children what good looks like and what possibilities were open to them in life. We're compiling favorites into 6 series of 12 books each, which you can read about here. They can be ordered individually as a set, or you can sign up to receive a book a month. Our first series that's complete is the Freedom Series, which is America's story the way it used to be told. It provides a perfect foundation of stories for further study. Along the way of gathering these stories, I ran into a lot of great treasures. It's not practical to republish them all, but as you finish each book and you want to learn more, we've provided links to internet archives for supplementary reading. These books can be read online just like a book. You can even make the pages larger for easy reading. They can be printed out or loaded on your Kindle or other e-reader if you'd like. As the other series become available, we'll do the same for them. If you'd like to be notified as future volumes are ready, just leave your email here on the home page. Another feature we hope you'll like is our Rescue Treasures in our Libraries of Hope bookstore. We scour used book sales to bring you wonderful books at bargain prices. A lot of these books are out of print. Again, you find a definite warmth factor in many of the books written before 1960 or 1970 that you just don't find in more recent books. You'll also find more traditional values of faith, freedom, family, and virtue in the older books. You don't have to worry about running into a lot of the vulgarity you find too often in children's books today. To learn more about each title and for additional copies, you can click here to go to the Amazon page and read what other people say about the book and get additional information about that title. Just remember that if you order through Amazon, your order is handled by them. Only the books ordered directly from Libraries of Hope are handled by us. You'll save money with our low shipping rates. The first book is $2.99, and then just add 30 cents for each additional book in the same order. I hope you'll take a look at all our other offerings here on the site. We're constantly looking for ways to improve and add to our services. Why do we do all this? Well, I think it can be best expressed by, what else? Telling you a little story. A certain man had a friend who was a beekeeper. Upon visiting him one day, he found his friend in deep despair. "I am ruined," he said. "All my honey is bitter." The man carefully considered the situation and then suggested they get up early the next morning and try and follow the swarm of bees to see what they were feeding on, which they did. They found them at an old abandoned bottling factory where, out back, there were barrels of rotting, gooey, icky syrups from which the bees were filling their little pollen sacs and flying back to the hives. The man simply offered, "Change what your bees are feeding on, and you'll change the quality of your honey." As we pay attention to the quality of stories our children are feeding on, we will not only improve the quality of their lives, we'll improve the quality of the world. And that's the vision of Libraries of Hope.